All right, welcome to the Explainer. We're jumping right in today because we are tracking a developing situation in the Bay of Bengal. Cyclone Montha has formed, and we're going to break down exactly what you need to know based on all the latest data.
So let's get straight to the biggest question that's probably on a lot of your minds. Is this cyclone a direct threat to Tamil Nadu? We're going to answer that, but not with guesswork. We're diving into the hard data, the storm's path, and what it's expected to do across the whole region.
Okay, so this situation is moving fast, so let's get right to the latest intel. Here is what we know right now. And this is the big headline here. Munda isn't just a cyclonic storm anymore. It has officially cranked up its power and intensified into a severe cyclonic storm. Now here's the critical part for so many of you. Its primary target is now confirmed to be the coast of Andhra Pradesh, not Tamil Nadu. So what does severe actually mean? To really get a handle on its potential impact, we've got to look under the hood at its core characteristics. The numbers really do tell the story of its strength. Okay, so this is the number that really matters. We're talking a sustained wind speed of 40 knots. Now, to put that in perspective, that's about 74 kilometers per hour, and that is the official tripwire that pushes the storm system into the severe category. So yeah, we're dealing with a powerful, very organized storm here. And what's the engine driving all that wind? Well, it's this: a central pressure of 998 hectopascals. Now, all you really need to remember with a cyclone is that lower pressure means higher power. It's basically like a giant atmospheric vacuum cleaner, just sucking in all that moisture and energy from the sea. This slide here, this is great because it gives us a complete snapshot of the storm's vitals. You can see its exact location, its official intensity, but look at the sheer size of this thing: a total circumference of 145 nautical miles. To give you a sense of scale, that's a storm system wide enough to stretch from Chennai almost all the way to Bangalore. It really gives you a feel for what we're dealing with. Right, so when you've got a storm this big, the number one question is always, where is it going? So let's track Montha's predicted path as it makes its way towards the coast. A storm's path is never a perfectly straight line. As it gets stronger and more organized, it kind of makes these slight adjustments. Meteorologists call it a wobble, as it basically pushes against other weather systems. But the good news is its general direction is becoming much clearer and more locked in. And this timeline lays it all out for us, showing exactly when to expect the biggest impact. So today, it's going to keep tracking towards the coast. Then, tonight, its path is expected to lock in to that final northwest direction. And then, boom, tomorrow evening or night, it makes landfall, and it'll be at its peak strength as a severe cyclonic storm. So after all that movement and all that wobbling, the computer models are now pretty much all in agreement. We have a consensus. The landfall zone is confirmed for the Andhra Pradesh coast, and more specifically, right in that region between Machilipatnam and Kakinada. A cyclone's impact is never just about the wind. It's really about the water. So let's switch gears and look at the rainfall forecast, because the effects of a storm this big will be felt far, far away from where it actually makes landfall. Well, no surprises here. As the state that's right in the crosshairs, Andhra Pradesh is definitely forecast to get the most significant and widespread rain from this entire system. And it's those coastal districts especially that are on high alert. We're talking about the entire coastal belt here, from Visakhapatnam and Kakinada up in the north, stretching all the way down to Nellore and Tirupati in the south. Everyone there should be ready for some widespread, very heavy rainfall. Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. Check this out. Even though Kerala is way over on the opposite coast, it's going to see a major impact. This cyclone in the Bay of Bengal is so powerful, it's going to act like a giant vacuum, pulling all these moisture-packed winds from the Arabian Sea right across the peninsula. And when those winds slam into the Western Ghats, they're just going to dump all that moisture. That's what leads to what the experts call full effect rains over the state. So what does that mean on the ground? It means that most districts right across the state, from Pathanamthitta down south all the way up to Wayanad in the north, you guys should be prepared for some serious downpours as all this moisture gets pulled in. Now for Karnataka, it's really a tale of two different forecasts. The impact is going to vary pretty significantly depending on whether you're right on the coast or a bit farther inland. And this slide just illustrates that perfectly. You can really see how the storm's effects kind of ripple outwards and get shaped by the land. The coastal Karavali region, which is going to get that direct pull of moisture, will see some heavy rain.
But as that moisture pushes inland, cities like Bangalore will see more moderate to heavy spells. And then even further inland, other districts will just get lighter, more scattered showers.
Okay, moving over to Telangana. The impact here is going to be a little more delayed. It won't really start until tomorrow, and it's going to be concentrated in the eastern parts of the state. The ones that border Andhra Pradesh. So while a city like Hyderabad is probably only going to see some lighter rain, it's these eastern districts. We're talking about places like Khammam and Kothagudem. They're the ones that are really going to bear the brunt of the heavy rainfall. And that'll be starting from tomorrow. All right, so let's bring this all back home, back to our original question, and focus squarely on the forecast for Tamil Nadu. What does all of this actually mean for the state?
This comparison really just says it all, doesn't it? It sums up the whole situation perfectly. For Andhra Pradesh, it's a direct hit, with all the dangers that come with that. But for Tamil Nadu, it's an indirect effect. So the main takeaway here is this: no landfall, no severe winds, but there will be rain. So look, there is absolutely no need to panic about the cyclone itself, but the storm's outer bands and that powerful moisture pull are still going to bring moderate to heavy rain to some specific areas. We're mainly talking about the Western Ghat districts, like the Nilgiris and Coimbatore. They're going to catch that moisture coming across the peninsula. And also the northern coastal districts, including Chennai, which will get grazed by the storm's outer arms. So if you live there, you should still prepare for a few days of pretty wet weather.
And just to leave you with one final thought, looking ahead, after a powerful system like Montha churns through, it often acts like a giant sponge, just sucking all the available moisture out of the atmosphere in the region. Now, that can sometimes lead to a long dry spell for places like Tamil Nadu in its wake. So, is that what's next for us? Well, that's a developing story and a question for our next explainer.